Doctors Show, where we believe EMRs suck. That systems and software should actually improve your life and your practice, not consume it. And here are only our measure of success are systems and software that give you the time and financial freedom to enjoy your life. And today, very special guest, Jared Cooper. Jared and I was on your podcast. I don't even know how long ago it was. I was on his podcast, and he had some great stuff, some great content that I thought really, really would benefit everyone in the group. So I wanted to make sure that we got him in here, and we finally did that. More his fault than mine. And no, I'm kidding. It's definitely my fault. I got busy getting the weeds, you know how it goes. I just like to throw other people under the bus, like, because nothing's my fault. It's all about somebody else's fault, right? And, I actually did a thing not too long ago about owning everything you do wrong. So
I watched that actually.
All right, cool. So Jared has a bunch of things going on right now. He's got it. Well, actually, why don't you introduce yourself? Why don't you tell your story instead of me telling your story?
So primarily my thing is I'm a business owner. I'm a practice owner. My clinic is called Moment Physical Therapy in Madison, New Jersey, right? And so we've been open for 7 years. We've been doing extremely well. And so that essentially is the brick and mortar side. Online, my brand is called Physio Secrets. And a lot of your guys probably have seen my stuff. I teach clinical skills, and I teach clinical skills directed at new grads. And the general idea here is that when you graduate from physical therapy school, you know, like 100 techniques, right? You get into the clinic and you've got this complex patient sitting in front of you who isn't in the research. You don't know what to do with them. And you've got 100 tools in your toolbox and you have no idea what to do. And as a new grad, we've all faced that. If you're someone that's been out for a while and you take students, your students face that, right? You give them the go test, right? You put a patient in front of them, you're like, go. And the student just like has this look of fear in their face, like, I don't know what to do right now. And then they just start trying shit, right? They're just like, oh, I'll try this. Maybe I'll do PAs. Maybe I'll do this. There's no like thought process. Now, we're all taught a lot of skills and we're taught sort of a thought process, but not really. And so when we get out to the clinic, we're confused. We have a big toolbox, but we don't know which tool to use right now, the one the patient needs right now. So most new grads try to resolve this problem by taking what? Continuing education.
Right. Yeah, we all do it. That was all our first go-to.
Right. So now you have 100 techniques. How many can you do at once? One. You have to find out the one technique. You take continuing education courses, which number gets bigger? The 100. Now you know 1,000 techniques. How many can you do at once? Still one. Mm-hmm. So how do you get from knowing 1,000 techniques down to the one your patient needs right now? You need a funnel. You need a logical funnel, some way to go from all the stuff that you know in your head down to the one thing your patient needs right now. And looking things up on PubMed is not the way to do it. Looking things up on PubMed informs your decision process, but it's not going to do the process for you. So what I teach is called the Physio Frameworks. The Physio Frameworks is the mechanics inside that funnel. It's the way to figure out how to go from all that stuff that you know to the one thing your patient needs right now. So it's a clinical reasoning system. It's what we all wish we had got in school and never got in school. So I teach that. And I also teach the clinical skills that you then use, the actual tools, how to do manipulation, how to do myofascial release, how to do therapeutic exercise, how to do motor control, all the actual like tools. But I don't like starting with the tools. I like starting with the frameworks because the frameworks ultimately where it's at. So I have a book coming out called the Physio Frameworks. My Facebook group is called Physio Secrets, where I share a lot of this content. My website's physiosecrets.com, where I have a lot of this content on there. And so my passion is helping young therapists, new grads, and also massage therapists and trainers who also have to use a semblance of reasoning, not necessarily medical reasoning, but they have to still figure out what to do with people. And teaching people how to understand the clinical reasoning process in a very simple framework. And the difference between let's say an algorithm and a framework is stupid simple and nobody can screw it up. And every decision you make uses the same framework and you just use evidence to support those decisions. And so that's what I teach, but that's not what I've been doing over the past 2 months. And everybody can understand why we've all been twisted up by this whole pandemic. So I haven't even been able to shoot any Physio Secrets content because the guy that I had full-time working for me in Physio Secrets I had to furlough. It's the only full-time person I had to furlough was my Physio Secrets guy, because Physio Secrets isn't my big money maker. It's my second business. My first business is brick and mortar. So I had to dedicate myself to the brick and mortar. Then funny enough, right when I dedicated myself to my brick and mortar business, my clinical practice, and making sure that we were able to, like, literally month 1, March, we did 100% of our business. Month 2, April, we did 95%. This month, we're on track to do 110%.
Awesome.
It's fucking
That's incredible.
crazy.
Yeah, it is.
In the middle of a pandemic, we're hitting our numbers every single month. But I want to share how we're doing that, number one. But I also had to really focus on that, because we had to change our schedule up to make the whole thing work. So I'm seeing more patients. So I just have less time. But oddly enough, when this whole thing started, a lot of people started asking me for coaching, business coaching, because everybody realized you can't just have one business. Right? If your one business is your brick and mortar business, and all of a sudden something like this comes along and wipes you out, what do you do? So the idea of having an online business and an offline business is almost like diversifying a portfolio, whereby if your brick and mortar is not working, you focus on the online. If your online's not working, you have the brick and mortar to fall back on. If you have all your eggs in one basket, and one thing's not working, it's hard. Like, how do you build an online business unless you have money somewhere else coming in? So either it's brick and mortar or you're working, right? You're actually working as a PT. So I feel like, I've learned a lot over the past couple of months, and I started taking on coaching clients, and I've been doing coaching for years, but all of a sudden the coaching business just exploded when the pandemic hit. And so I've been working with a lot more entrepreneurs, and literally physical therapists and people that are not even in physical therapy, just because I have a background in marketing and sales and strategy, helping them build their online business as well. So I'd love to talk about all of it.
Yeah. So you said about kind of keeping your schedule full. That's something that pretty much everybody in this group is going to want to know. Like, how did you pull that off? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. All right. So first of all, unfortunately, if you didn't get your people converted over to telehealth in the first 2 weeks, it gets harder and harder every week, because people are in a physical therapy mindset. When they're in physical therapy, it's top of mind. They go twice a week. It's part of their regular regimen. The moment they get out of that regimen, it becomes harder and harder to get them back into the regimen, right? It's kind of like working out or being on a diet. Anything that you do regularly, if you stop for a while, it's hard to get back into it. So the time to have converted your patients was like week 1 and 2. So now anybody who's not converted their patients, the job is going to be much, much, much harder. But let's go back for a second. I'll just tell you quickly how we did it in the beginning and what we're doing now. So you have to understand, what is the primary concern? The primary concern is safety. It isn't results. Like, they might have some back pain, but that back pain is nothing compared to death. It's like, I don't know if you watch Governor Cuomo's thing, like in New York, where this reporter was pushing him to like, there's protesters outside that want you to open everything. People are saying that they're having poverty. There's an increased risk. They're like increased risk of domestic abuse, all this stuff. And like, what do you say to that? Governor Cuomo was like, he was like, poverty, bad, not death. Like abuse, bad, not death. Like the alternative to like the thing is, that you could die. So their primary concern is not their freaking back pain. Their primary concern is, I don't want to get sick and die. You have to understand that. That's the reason people are afraid to go into your clinic. So the very first thing we did was we shot a series of videos of me talking to them on a personal level, our patients, and email those out to our active patient list, of me saying stuff like, I want to tell you all the steps that we are currently taking to keep you safe if you want to come in for therapy. And I talked about how we're doubling up on our sanitization. We're not using any towels. We switched to all paper. We have masks. We have gloves, sanitizer. They're cleaning. We social distance the whole practice. So we split the patients up into the first floor and the second floor. Like, we literally did everything that we possibly could to comply with everything that needed to be done for social distancing. So that was the first. So we sent out an email video of me explaining how we're trying to keep them safe. And if they didn't feel safe, to try a telehealth session. Now, I don't believe in explaining things to people, because people don't listen anyway. So I think the only way people really get stuff is to experience it. So the next thing that we did was we offered telehealth for free for anybody that gave any resistance whatsoever or questioned the process. We'll just do it for free. Your first session is free. Your second session is free. It doesn't matter. And people are so apprehensive about giving away stuff for free, not realizing that everybody gives away stuff for free. Apple gives away stuff for free, right? When you go on, you listen to your podcast, it's free. Like when you go on Apple Music, it's free. Like Apple gives away stuff for free. Hulu gives away stuff for free. Everybody gives away stuff for free. And yet somehow we're like, no, I have to get paid for my work. No. In the beginning, if you want them to experience something and believe in it, then just give it to them for free. Then they get the value. They're like, oh my God, this was actually really helpful. Way easier to then say, okay, if you found value in this session, let's schedule some follow-ups. So that's what we did. We just said, look, if you have any apprehension about doing telehealth, let me do a free session with you. You have nothing to lose. So that's what everybody should be doing right now. If you have any clients that are apprehensive at all about telehealth, and I've done on my own show, like I talked about the keys to executing telehealth properly so people really understand the value of it. So we won't get into that right now, but
but the big thing is like the big takeaway to me is, lead for free, like give it away for free. Like they're going to be apprehensive about it. They're not going to want to convert in the first place because this is something new, something they don't understand, something, you've been putting your hands on me and now you're trying to tell me, okay, I don't need to put my hands on you.
Right.
Exactly. So now you're switching so much on them, and then you throw an additional wrench in the works whenever you say, okay, now let's discuss how you're going to pay me for this.
Right.
Like you just put one more barrier up, like kick that barrier down if you can, give it away for free, let them see the value. And, we've discussed this, that once they see the value, then you can ask. So you ask them if they've seen the value and what you've done and what you've given them. And now all of a sudden, that allows you to convert that person. So one of the things that we discussed a little bit earlier before we came on was like kind of your emails and how you basically do this. You give it away for free. You give away that content. Sorry about my dog. I'm at home like everybody else. So how you give it away for free and like that email content. Can you kind of give them some ideas of how you did that, the things that you gave that allowed you to keep those people and potentially convert new people?
Sure. So after we did that initial free session, at the end of that actual Zoom session, I would love to do a follow-up with you if this was valuable. And obviously you have to know how to deliver value in a telehealth session, but that's a separate talk, right? The next thing we did was for those people that didn't convert and for our past patients. So we've got a big email list of people that we've seen in the past. So what's easier, getting new patients or getting old patients? Well, getting old patients. So we sent out an email. Now this email, instead of going out to our active patients, went out to all of our patients. And the series of emails that we sent after that were value-driven emails. So it was all about, I would essentially teach something valuable through video, how to do a push-up, how to do a step-up, just something really simple. Right? Encourage them to do it with me at home. And then at the end of that, finish with, if you found value in this video of me teaching you how to do the push-up, I'd love to get on a Zoom call with you so I can work with you on developing an exercise program so that you can stay fit and healthy while you're home without re-injuring yourself in the process. And if you want to do that, just click reply to this email, because it came to them in an email, right, with the video. So they watched the video, click reply to this email, was in the email, or click the link down below. So I put the videos on my blog so that all I have to do is just scroll down, and then they see a little button that says click here to schedule a consult or something. So those calls to action converted our past patients to returning patients.
Great.
That was huge.
Oh yeah, that's it. Even after this is over, that's your biggest leverage point. Like this is my shtick. I don't know if you've ever. So 80% of your future business comes from 20% of your past customers. Like just think about that. 20% of the people you've already had are responsible for 80% of your future income. Everything you bring in is responsible to 20%. If you can move 20% by 2%, that's a 10%. That's an 8% growth by moving that bar by 2%. Like it doesn't take much to affect a huge change within your practice.
Absolutely. And the cool part is now with telehealth is that now past patients are referring other people that would normally not see us because they're not geographically located in our area, but they're still in Jersey. So we can still see those people. They would normally have just gone to their local PT clinic. Now they're not going to their local PT clinic. So they're now looking for the best online option. And so we have that advantage. So the next thing that we're doing, so the next phase in this process is we're now going to take the people that have results with telehealth. And if you're doing any telehealth at all, you have to be doing this as your next step. And we're going to do testimonials. And then we're going to take those testimonials and we're going to use those testimonials to advertise to our past patients as well.
Right.
So that's the past patient strategy. Then the new patient strategy, talk about recycling content. We talked about that a second ago, right? The new patient strategy is you then take the videos that everybody responded to and you turn them into ads because they're the videos that everybody loved and shared anyway. So then you turn those into ads. And then the call to action in the ad is then if you found this video helpful and you have an ache or a pain where that you think that you might want to talk about, give us a ring or whatever your call to action is. And we're happy to get on a free call with you and talk about how we might be able to help. So you're using either feedback you're getting from your past patients on the content that you sent them to understand what works and what doesn't, to then drive what you're going to do for your advertisements on Facebook or Instagram or whatever your preferred platform is.
Right. And I love exactly what you're doing. Like that repurposing of the content, and letting your customer drive what other people are seeing. So repurposing the content, this is one of the things, everybody gets so overwhelmed. They see something and they see, oh, this is a great idea. And then you get out there and you're like, whoa, there's a lot to do here. Right. So if you can figure out ways that you can pare that information down, reuse that information in different places, you just created double the content with half the work. So, it's going out everywhere in all these different formats. And just like Jared and I were talking before this call, he said, oh, we're going live on Facebook. I said, yeah, I do my Facebook lives. I turn those into my podcasts. I then repurpose that live onto the website. I put it everywhere that I can. And I told him it's because I'm lazy, because we all are. We all are. We don't want to do extra work.
Colloquialism for laziness is efficiency.
Right. Yeah, it's the same thing. That's my software. That's why I built it. I didn't want to have to do this.
Yeah, and then there's one more piece of this puzzle, which is, guess what? Every gym is struggling with right now. Every gym is struggling with the same thing, which is getting people in. What have they done? They've converted everybody that they see to online. So now there's this online stream of traffic that the gym owners are working with, but the gym owners can only produce so much content. So what we've done is we've gone to our gym relationships and said, hey, why don't we get together and do a webinar or a workshop for your customers at home, and I'll teach some cool stretching stuff they can do right in the chair at their computer. So we're starting to do workshops. We just did one with Game Changer Fitness, which is a place here in our town, where they had I think it was 50 or 60 people on the call. And after that, so I did a workshop on literally stretches you can do in your chair without getting up. And it was great. It was fantastic. And I made a cheat sheet of all the stretches that I asked if I could email. And guess what was on the bottom of the cheat sheet?
Right.
If you're having any aches or pains and you need some help, give us a call. So we sent that out. And when he sent out the video to the people that didn't go live, he also sent the cheat sheet to everybody. So you should still leverage your existing relationships, because the other companies are having the same struggles that we are. And you just figure out a way to provide value to their customers.
Correct. And then you can even repurpose some of the videos. You can use those on Facebook, your Facebook webpage.
Thank you for saying that. That's what we did. We took the video that we did, and where do you think we sent it? To our past patients. That's right.
Right. And this Brad was talking about. Brad was on here. Brad Coach. He was on and he was talking about the omnipresence. You're doing the same thing. It's it's amazing how all the same principles all are there. For everything. You want to be everywhere. You want to be everywhere your customer or potential customer looks. You want to be there. You want to have people talking to them, telling them, hey, this is the place you want to go.
Yeah.
You want to have, you want to have your content out there, no matter, maybe I don't read email. Okay, well, now your email doesn't do any good. Well, if you put it on Facebook, maybe I'm on Facebook, or maybe vice versa. I'm not on Facebook, but I get emails. So you're just diversifying, making sure that you're hitting everybody, and you're doing it with the same content. And I'll never forget this. This is one of the turning points for me. Copywriter told me this, and I'll never forget it. He said, you pay me a lot of money, because I was paying him to do copyright for me. So he said, you pay me a lot of money to write this for you, but the truth of the matter is nobody reads more than 10% of this.
Right.
He's like, they read the first paragraph. He's like, and you're lucky if 10, 15% read it. He's like, that's not how this is going to work, because I was worried about taking the articles that he and I were working on and putting these things together and, going through revision. I'm like, this is so much work. How am I going to do it here, and here? He's like, you're not. You're going to put this, you're going to do this once and it's going to go everywhere. He's like, nobody's reading it anyway. And I'm like, I'm paying all this money and nobody's reading it.
Yeah. For people that are apprehensive about producing content, it's true. You just make it once and then repurpose it everywhere you possibly can, just because you don't know where people are going to get it. And I think the emphasis away from therapy and into health is key. Like, we're doing a lot more on the fitness side, getting healthy, staying fit, not fix your shit, because people don't care unless their pain is really bad. People are health minded right now, not pain minded. They're very concerned about their health. Right. Am I going to get sick? That's their biggest concern. So don't push pain reduction, right? Because that's not top of mind. If I got a little shoulder pain and it nags me when I play basketball, who gives a crap? No one's playing basketball. So don't push pain. It's about stay healthy. Here's how you stay healthy. And by the way, stretching is part of that. Self-myofascial release may be part of that, right? Doing your rotator cuff work may be part of that. But you have to, the messaging is key. It's always about what's their pain point, what's their struggle. And you can't just use the strategy that worked when their top of mind was, I can't dunk. Right. Or the top of mind was, I can't swing the golf club, right? That's not what they're struggling with right now. They're struggling with, I'm bored. I need to be entertained. I need to stay healthy, and I don't know what to do. That's their biggest struggle. And so give them that. Right. And guess what? You'll help their shoulder along the way, but don't talk about their shoulder pain, because that isn't what they care about right now. I mean, some people do. I mean, there's a guy that we're working with that literally threw his back out so bad, he was on an IV drip of corticosteroid in the hospital. Like, who goes to the hospital right now for a back pain? That's how much pain he was in. Okay, so for him, and he's a firefighter. Like, he needs a back program. I get it. But a lot of the other patients, I was working with a Medicare patient the other day, and we're working on balance and strength and this, that, and the other. And he goes, Doc, and this guy's a physician, by the way. And he says to me, and he's in a home right now, right? So they didn't let him out of his room for a long time. He goes, I tried to walk across the campus the other day. I couldn't make it across. I was huffing and puffing. So damn, this guy's biggest problem isn't even his balance, he's deconditioned. Right. So I literally pulled up on YouTube a fitness for seniors video of this chick doing like fitness for seniors stuff. And I did it with him. And I was like, look, do this. I'm going to do it with you so I can correct your form. I had him hold dowels so he doesn't fall. And I said, do this every single day. Let's check back in a week. Let's see how you're doing. So it was way less about me treating what I think he needed and more about me understanding during this terrible time, what does he really need? And speaking to that is really key. Anyway.
Yeah, well, I just let me apologize to everybody that was on here. I was like looking at my phone froze, and I'm like, man, nobody's getting on today. I don't know what the heck's going on. My phone froze. I look now. There's like a gajillion comments. I'm sorry to everybody that hop on. Mike Chua, hey, Dean, hello, Heather, Bill. I don't know who's here now and who's not here because I totally dropped the ball. It froze, and I'm like, and I looked, and I'm like, oh no. There's people asking, saying, hey, saying what's up. There's so many people here. I didn't say hello to anybody because I didn't think anybody was on. So I'm sorry to all of you. And but thanks for stopping by. And I see
it's Mike's like a belated here. Facebook hello.
Yeah. And most of them are probably already gone. You know how that works. Same thing. The content guy, 10%, 10% of the people, they'll be here for 2-3 minutes and whoop, they're long gone.
Well, they're going to miss good stuff. We're going to miss good stuff.
Yeah. That's all right. I'm going to repurpose it everywhere. I'll email it to them. It'll be on my podcast. You can get it somewhere.
True.
So what about, I know that you're helping people to build online businesses. We kind of dove deep into the weeds on what you're doing, on how you're getting patients, which is very important. But there are a lot of people that are now trying to work on something else, something additional. They realize because of, the mess we're in, that they need another source of income.
Yeah.
And they've used this time to dial in on creating that source of income. So you help people do that. That was one of the main reasons I really wanted to have you on, was you help people when they're trying to build an online business. So would you mind sharing with the group just some of what you do, and then some tricks, strategies, things that you use to get started?
Sure. So my brand is Physio Secrets, and I sell essentially content around clinical practice. The primary course that I'm making most of my money from online right now is actually a myofascial cupping course that I sell to massage therapists, not even physical therapists.
Wow.
So I don't have a massage following. Right? No, I don't, like my Physio Secrets company, like my group, I do now, like I have massage therapists now who follow me, but only because they found me through my cupping ads, not because I was talking to them originally. So I primarily sell a course to massage therapists to learn how to do cupping with their clients. This is a business that I had to start from scratch because I had no cupping customers. That business is doing well enough to pay my mortgage on my home plus some every month. That's in net. And it's 100% passive. So am I making $1 million off that one course? No. But if you can build a business that pays your mortgage and all your expenses, like that's huge. So that's like one huge burden you don't have to deal with. And if it's passive, that's even better. It doesn't take any time. And so I took the lessons that I learned with that, and I'm using it in other areas of my business, and it's working and it's working and it's working. And so I said, you know what? I have been studying and obsessing over strategy and marketing and brand building for a long time. My first business partner a gazillion years ago on my first business in New York City was a branding and marketing expert. So much of what I learned from her. And then I've gone and spent $100,000 on an education in marketing easily, on coaching and masterminds and all that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I have all this knowledge. I was like, there are people out there that need to build online businesses, that want to build online businesses, that I know are doing it in a way that is not going to work. And usually they call me when it's not working. I did this, and nobody's buying anything. I'm like, let me see it. I'm like, okay, I know why nobody's buying anything. And the problem is that a lot of people don't understand that being an expert in the content that you're producing has absolutely nothing to do with being an expert in selling that content. And the branding and the marketing, brand building being when people think about you and what you're selling, what feelings do they have?
Right.
What do they associate you with? What does it, and more, what does it make them feel? When I think about my cool little Apple Watch with my cool little wristband, it makes me feel something. Like I feel cool because I have like a cool Apple Watch, right? I feel something.
Yeah.
We don't realize this, but most of our decisions about the purchases that we make are based on our feelings about those purchases. And then we justify those purchases with logic. Oh, well, it made sense. It was on sale. Oh, well, it made sense. I needed it anyway. But in reality, we just wanted it in our gut. So we bought it. Right. So
yeah, brand, if you're married, you understand this.
Right. Exactly. So the brand is how you make somebody feel. What the hell does that have to do with your course? Nothing. It has nothing to do with your course. If you sell a knee rehab program, what do they feel? I sell a knee rehab program. Oh, that's nice. Like, what does that have to, they can go onto YouTube and look up knee rehab exercises. They don't need your course. So understanding that branding a business is very, very, very different than producing the content in that course. So understanding branding is key.
Right.
The second thing is the marketing. So in other words, what media are you using and what is your message? You have to understand your avatar. Who's your perfect customer? I mean, as you know, the biggest issue that most people have when they market is they think about their product, they make their product, and then they put it out into the world and they sell it to everyone. And even people that they think they're niching down, but they're not. If you look at the messaging, it still says, here's a knee rehab program. For who? Everybody who has knee pain?
Right.
Do you have any idea how many people have knee pain? There's 1 million people out there with knee pain. You don't need 1 million customers. You just need 1,000. So don't sell to 1 million. So it's about getting it narrowed down further and further. And to understand who your perfect customer is, you should be able to think about one human being, just one human being. And usually it's a past customer. Like if you're a brick and mortar practice and you're trying to sell to an avatar, just think of your perfect customer and ask the question, if I had 100 of these people, if I had 100 of this one person, would I have a great business? And if the answer is yes, that's the great avatar. If you had 100 of that person and you're like, I don't know, I don't think I want 100 of those people, then that's not your avatar. So understanding who you're marketing to, understanding your message. In other words, what result is this product going to deliver? It's one of the biggest problems I see. And I know that this term is used, and there's a couple of people out there, not to use any names, that are using this term, prehab, as an example. No one knows what the fuck that is. I don't even know what it is. I thought prehab was something you do before you have surgery so that your rehab is easier. So if I'm buying a prehab product to prevent me from having surgery, I don't know what it is. So the term, despite the success of some of these people using that term, the word itself doesn't mean anything to the consumer.
Right. Yeah, I don't. Do I need prehab?
I don't know. Do you? I don't even know. So then the course that you make associated with a prehab program makes even less sense, because if I'm going to prehab a body part, as an example, I'm using this as an example. I've seen this problem multiple times in multiple different businesses. I don't know if I need that thing. So one of the biggest issues that people have when they land on websites is not knowing whether what the person is selling is for them, right? If I go and I see and I land on a website, I need to know within a few seconds whether what you're selling is for me and if I'm your customer. And I need to know that very, very quickly. So that is part of the messaging. And then being able to deliver the benefits, like saying, look, this is the benefits of this thing, not here's a set of features, not here's the cool thing that it's called. When you build a business around that and understanding the pain of your customer and the problem that it solves, that's how you build any business. Forget about an online business.
Right.
So how am I selling my cupping course? Well, my first landing page didn't work because I didn't really understand the pain of the customer. And so I delved further into the pain. And now my landing page for my cupping course is built around what massage therapists struggle with. Massage therapists don't give a crap about cupping. They don't want to wear their hands out. That's their pain, is not wanting to wear out their hands. So, and they're exhausted. You work on somebody all day. You think doing physical therapy is hard? Try doing fucking massage therapy and doing hour-long manual therapy sessions, 6 or 7 hours a day.
I know after doing 15, 20 minutes, I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah. So massage therapists, their big issue is they're using their hands so much that they feel like they're wearing out. And when you talk to massage therapists, what's the biggest struggle you have other than just getting new customers? It's just, I'm worn out.
Right.
Cupping is an amazing alternative to using your hands. If you do it right, it's incredibly effective. It's way less stress on your hands, and it takes less time to do it anyway. So that was a huge pain point. So by speaking to that pain point, rather than just selling a course, is so key. It's true for anything. It's like your business. Like, are you selling EMR? No, because nobody wants to buy EMR. I hate EMR.
Right.
You even have a sign behind you that says EMRs suck. Why would I want to buy something that sucks?
Right.
You're not selling EMR. You're selling time saving.
Right.
You're selling my time with my family. Right. We talked about this.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm. Yeah. That's what I'm selling. Yeah.
So I want time with my family, and you're selling me that.
It's a much easier sell than selling you a new EMR.
Exactly, because I don't want to buy an EMR, but I'll buy my time back. My Physio Secrets. I'm not selling you clinical skills.
Mhm.
You can get clinical skills anywhere. I'm selling you time. You know how long it would take you to learn how to get good on your own? 5 years, easily. That's how long it takes therapists to get good. I know because I interview therapists all the time. 3 years out, 5 years out, they're still struggling with the same thing. I'm going to make you good in 6 weeks. You follow my frameworks, and I know this because I have students who've, in 6 weeks, look like they've been out for 5 freaking years.
Right.
Because they're making decisions like this. I'm selling time compression. I'm going to save you thousands and thousands of dollars that you're going to waste on Con Ed, and hours and hours and hours of struggle and feeling embarrassed because you can't get your patients better. I'm not selling you a book.
Right.
So that concept of understanding the branding and marketing is a skill as a physical therapist that there's no good reason for us to innately have unless you actually went out and learned it. So I said, okay, as with most things, how can I make a framework to help people through this process? Hence, I came up with this cool idea of Blue 32. So if you think about football player, right, they line up, and if they have to call a play and it's an audible, like they see something's wrong, like Blue 32, Blue 32, right? They yell that thing out. I'm not a big football guy, but like, we all know about Blue 32. So that's a little bit of a pun, right? So blue is blueprint and 32 is the 32 steps. So my Blue 32 program, which is a coaching program that I offer, is 32. Here it is. It's 32 steps that you go through, one card at a time. And when you're done, you have a blueprint to build your business. Now,
Awesome.
A lot of people don't understand the concept of a blueprint. So there are people online selling blueprints. And what a blueprint is when they buy it is it's a generic way to do something, right? If you think of a blueprint in business, you think I buy a blueprint for how to do this. It's generic. That's not what a blueprint is. When you hire an architect, do they go into their files and sell you a generic drawing for your house? No. They design from scratch a blueprint of your house that you then give to a builder. You then build the house off the blueprint. Now, if the blueprint was correct, the house is good. If the blueprint was wrong, the house is bad. It's not a generic thing that you follow. People are selling blueprints all over the place. That's not what a blueprint is. A blueprint is a customized strategy that gives you the step-by-step instructions about how to build your business. So there is no blueprint for business. There isn't. There's a framework that you follow, which is Blue 32, so that you can actually design the blueprint for your business, because everybody's business is different, like every house is different.
Right.
So the blueprint for going and selling to seniors online is very different than the blueprint for trying to expand from 1 physical therapy practice to 5. Those are 2 very different business blueprints. They have different steps, different stages. However, they have the same components. The same components. Every house needs walls, plumbing, electrical. They all need the same components, but they don't need them in the same order, in the same place, in the same manner, in the same structure. So what I do with my coaching clients is I walk them through 32 steps called the Blue 32, which is just my kind of funky name for it, which allows them to design a blueprint to build a successful business from. It's a blueprint that they can hand to their website designer. They can hand to their accountant. They can hand to their copywriter. They can hand to somebody help it. They can hand to anybody, and they can read that and go, oh, that's how you're going to build your business. And when you have a branding and marketing strategy, a branding and marketing blueprint, you then can build a business with very little pain. Because building a business, as you know, is painful.
Right.
It can be very painful if you don't have a plan to follow and you're doing it and making mistakes. And it can also be very expensive. I know that when I built my business in the beginning, it was extremely expensive, not because it cost a lot, just because I made so many mistakes. And those mistakes would have been avoided had I just had a blueprint whereby I just built the thing based off the blueprint. And that's why you make a blueprint for a house, is because if you built it without a blueprint, you would make so many mistakes building the house because you don't know what you don't know until you start to build something.
Hey, Will, how's it going? Gracie. So if somebody, okay, somebody is interested in that end of things, I put up your website below. How do you suggest that they get a hold of you? Like, if they're interested in building an online business and they want to learn how to go about that. So I said your website, like, how do they do that? How do they go to your website? How do they get in contact with you to kind of learn a little bit more about this?
I have a contact form on my website. It goes right to me. It just goes to my email. I'll share my email too. It's Dr. Cooper at Physio Secrets, just Dr. Cooper at physiosecrets.com. And you can also hit me up on Facebook, Jared Cooper, or you can hit me up in the business side, Physio Secrets. That's just the easiest way to do it. It's easy to get in touch with me. The hard part is deciding that coaching is right for you, and really, I don't even call it coaching. I call it consulting, because that's really what it is. And if you want to build a business and it's time for you to build something online so you can get some passive income, and you want to decide whether it's right for you, then guess what I offer?
A free call.
Yeah, because you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about unless we get on a call and we start talking about your business. Right. Because we can look at your business and understand what your business needs. The kind of business that you need to build is very different than what someone else might need to build. So I'm happy to do a free consult. And
mine is very different.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, your EMR business is nothing like, selling a Con Ed course to massage therapists. It's just it's a different beast. So yeah, I do a free consulting call with my clients. And that ultimately is really the key, because we have to make sure it's a good match for me and for them, right? For you. So that's really the key. And there's a lot of coaches out there. There's a lot of options. So, obviously, you may want to look around to see who's right for you, but I primarily work with people that are interested in dedicating the time to do it. And my coaching calls are 3 hours long. So usually what you see on a coaching call is an hour. I did coaching. It was an hour. Mm-hmm. The problem is, as you build a business, when you sit and meet with your team, do you have hour-long meetings? No. You have 3, 4, 5, 6 hour meetings when you really want to make decisions, right? Because you have to flesh ideas out. You have to throw a lot of stuff down. It takes a lot of time to build a business. So there's a difference between coaching and consulting. Coaching is, I'm going to give you some tips, like bouncing a balloon up in the air. I'm going to keep the balloon floating, right? Like this. Mm-hmm. That's coaching. Consulting is, no, we're going to put the foundation in the ground. That takes a lot of time. We're going to build this from the ground up. It takes a lot of time. So the right person for working with me through Blue 32 is the person that is serious about building a business and wants more than just a few strategies or some encouragement, and really wants to sit with somebody and build the frickin' thing and write the blueprint for it, and doesn't want to get overwhelmed. Because the cool part about doing something like this, you don't get to move on to card number 2 until you're done with card number 1. Right. So it's step by step. You don't get this overwhelm of, I got to do 9 million things. But anyway, that's basically the summary of the right person for doing coaching. And I'm happy to, anybody in your group that wants to get on a call with me is welcome to just get in touch, email, Facebook, whatever.
All right. Well, sounds great. Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff in there. Like, if you're hopping on now, hey, well, thanks, Will. If you're hopping on now, you probably want to go back. Yeah.
What's up, Will? Will and Alex coached me for a while. And if you guys haven't coached with those two, they're freaking beasts, right? They coach with you too. They're awesome. Mm-hmm. So, Yeah. Oh yeah. They're great. I love both of those guys. So, anything else you want to share? I mean, there's so much in. If you haven't seen it, go back to the beginning, start over, watch the whole thing. There's so much in there that Jared shared, and so many tidbits that you can take away if you're trying to build a practice or an online business. So any parting thoughts, anything you want to share with everybody before we hop off here? Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this concept of physical therapy and deciding whether or not I thought physical therapy was a good business or not. I think it's a really interesting question. And I think a lot of therapists are getting a bit disheartened, feeling like we got the short end of the stick with our profession. The most money that we're going to make as a PT, if you don't own a practice, you don't have an online business, is what, 90 grand, 100 grand a year. You're not going to make $1 million off of that. It's going to take you 20 freaking years to pay back your student loans. We've all heard the story, right? And it's true. I mean, I think it's true. I think we did get a bit the short end of the stick, and it wasn't our fault. We didn't know this getting into PT school, what our salary would be. And if you look at an industry where so many people are looking to start a side hustle, you have to ask the question, what the fuck is wrong with the primary hustle? Like, why does everybody need a side hustle? If the damn hustle was working in the first place, you wouldn't need a side hustle. But the faster you come to grips with the idea that as a physical therapist, you have a skill set that is so freaking valuable, you start to understand you don't have to just sell those skills in person one-to-one. And that stop thinking about online as a side hustle. Stop thinking about side businesses as side hustles. They all need to be part of your actual business. And as an entrepreneurial physical therapist, you don't have a daytime job and a side hustle. Don't think of it like that. It diminishes the actual daytime job to being shit because now my actual hustle isn't making me enough money to pay rent. That's terrible. And it turns the online business into something that's not real. It's a side hustle. It's not a business. Collapse them. You're an entrepreneur, build a brand around something that you're passionate about, and then sell that brand in different places. Sell it online, sell it in person. You just sell it. Like Apple has an online business and a store that you can physically go to. They didn't build the store and go, this sucks. Why don't we build an online business because the store's not working? They didn't do that. They built Apple and they sold it in two places, physical and online. We need to think about it differently. We need to do the same thing. When you're a physical therapist and you graduate, you have a skill set. There's nothing about that skill set that says you have to deliver everything with your hands. It's a skill set. It's not a side hustle and a job. It's, I need to work on my brand. I need to know who I am as a therapist. I need to know what I'm selling and what makes it unique. And then I need a way to package that in different ways. If you're building a brick and mortar, it's packaging the brick and mortar in such a way that you leverage your expertise in a niche to deliver your brick and mortar. If you work for somebody else, then you need to say, I work with people who. I work with people who have pelvic floor problems. I work with people who play tennis. I work with people who have low back pain. That's what you do. Then you go there. Then you go online and you say, who's your online customer? I work with people who have back pain, play tennis, whatever it is. You have to know who you are as a therapist, your brand. Then you sell that brand in multiple different ways to different people on different platforms. You don't have a job and a side hustle. That is a recipe for failure. You have a brand, and you build a business. If you do it that way, it stops being like all this separate shit you're trying to juggle. And it's like, then the brick and mortar has nothing to do with the online, and the online's got nothing to do with brick and mortar. No, they all need to be one thing. And once that happens, changes the game completely. Those are my final thoughts. You're muted. There you go.
Forgot that I muted myself because my kids are being loud. But hey, that's awesome stuff. Thank you, man, so much for sharing. There's so much in there, and I really appreciate it. I know it's going to benefit a lot of people in the group. So thank you so much for being a guest, man. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Anytime, Ray.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you for coming to the PT Business Builders Show, where we believe EMRs suck. That systems and software should actually improve your life and your practice, not consume it. And here, the only measure of success are systems that give you the time to enjoy your life and the financial freedom to do that. So thank you, everyone, for coming today and joining. Thank you again, Jared, and I hope everybody has an amazing day.
Peace out, everyone.